If you have not subscribed to ONR, please, I'm going to wait. Like, I have never waited, but today I'm going to wait for you guys to subscribe. You subscribed? Okay, thanks. Thank you. There are no right answers. There's just the answer that I believe would be the best, but there are no right answers. I want to pose a question to you guys. In the end, I'm going to give you the answer for it. So the question is, there are two. Assuming you're a 35-year-old agile woman or a man and you are planning to save for your retirement, what options would you go for? So option 1 is stocks, option 2 is a money market fund, option 3 is insurance, and then question 2 is, imagine you're a 65-year-old retiree, okay, and you want to keep saving for your retirement, okay? What options would you consider? How would you go about using that money to help you cater for your retirement? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Olive Kirote and this is Olive Kirote rebranded. This is part 2 of the video I just released about factors to consider before investing. So in that video I did say that I'm gonna come back and finish the other points. Without further ado, let's get into this video. In the previous video we were on point number 3, and once you have determined your investment goals, you have determined your investor profile, the third thing is to determine your investment objective. So I was busy reading and researching in these corners of the internet, and I realized there are 3 investment objectives. 1, safety or stability. So basically you are in the business of trying to preserve your money. You're trying to keep it stable. You don't want to go through the stress and ups and downs of losses. You're not essentially trying to be risky, okay? So examples of this are fixed deposit accounts, market funds or money market funds, and government bonds. And why these 3? Because they are essentially preserving your cash. If you lock your money in an FDA, chances are 6, 7, 8%, I'm not really too sure, but your money is essentially going to be there 10-20 years to come. So about money market funds, I have a whole video about it, how to invest in mutual funds, because essentially it's a mutual fund which has 3 pillars, either a money market fund, a balance fund, an equity fund. So definitely check that video out to understand what exactly these funds are. Government bonds are essentially the same. They are locked in for a good period of time. It could be 10 years if it's a bond, or 5 years if it's a bill. And again, I have a video guys about it, so definitely go check it out and see how exactly government bonds and bills work. So if you are looking for safety and stability, these are the options you would consider. The second investment objective is income. So income is whereby you're investing, but you're looking towards generating an extra amount of money from the income. You're looking for a return that's regular. You're essentially investing in a product that generates income regularly. Government bonds, also I believe corporate bonds would be in the income segment. I was also thinking of SACCOs. Not too sure, but I'm assuming they also pay you dividends yearly and it's income generating because you've saved and your savings are essentially earning you an interest from the loans that the SACCO offers its members. I was reading in the US there's something called dividend stocks, whereby you've invested on a stock and you're paid dividend for it. So again, you're creating an income over the principal amount that you've invested. Third is growth. So with growth, the investor essentially wants to grow their assets, period. And most of the time it's geared to capital appreciation and very long term. So stocks are very long term oriented. It's advisable for you to lock in into stocks for a longer period of time. What I've learned with stocks, and I'm going to show you a graph probably, is it goes up and goes down, but it goes up and goes down, but it goes up and goes down. So essentially it's growing, but you know, up and down on that graph. Another growth oriented asset would be land property. And I remember I posed this question that I've asked you guys on my Instagram, and I asked them, And there's a lady who reached out to me and she gave us a very nice insight on land, and I'm going to share with you guys as we continue. But stay tuned for that insight, because it was really a nice insight that not many people talk about. And I feel like if you own land or you're planning to own land, it's something you need to hear. Also guys, if you're enjoying this video and if you're liking and you are learning something, definitely hit that like button. So the first thing you need to consider as you are trying to invest or you're a beginner investor is understand your investment horizon. So basically your time, or rather your time frame. There's a definition that I read and I want to read for you guys, and it said your investment horizon is essentially the future point at which the investor is likely to want their money back. And I was like, that is so true. You might essentially say, I want to keep the money for 5 years, but reality is you might want the money back in 2 years. That's now your true investment horizon. And these horizons are divided into 3. So there is short term, there is medium term, and there is long term. Short term is 1 to 3 years. Medium term is 3 to 10 years, or 2 to 3 to 10 years. And long term is more than 10 years. Like, long term is a long time. However, there are also people saying that short term is 0 to 2 years, medium term is 3 to 7, and then now long term is 7 years and above. From that, you've already learned that. So you move from investment goal, then you determine your investment profile, or rather your investor profile. Then you understand your investment objective, which is either safety or stability, income, or growth. And then you go now to investment horizon, where we have realized it's essentially when do I want this money, or when do I intend to cash back. So once we have gone through that, the fifth thing is to understand your investment constraints. So basically these are the things that are going to affect your investment journey. And I'm going to give you an example. Is ideally something like liquidity. You might want to invest in land, but as much as land is a very good asset that you can lock in for 10 years and buy this land for 100k, and 10 years later it's 1 million, it's a very difficult asset to convert to money. Liquidity is something that could constrain maybe the choice you go for. Maybe you're saving for a wedding which is in a year's time. You will probably not choose land, because will you be able to even make enough profit to sell this land in a year and convert it to cash so that it can fund your wedding in a year? The second thing that will be a constraint, it goes back to horizon, which is time. You know, sometimes life really throws a lot of curveballs to us. You might actually essentially want to cash out a bit longer, but the curveballs to life force you to cash out earlier. So that is something that could affect your investment and could be a constraint. I am currently on Mima Consultancy, an Instagram page. She is a fellow content creator, but she also consults small businesses in trying to grow their businesses online. You can check her out. And while I was editing this video, I figured I would share this because it explains so much one of the investment constraints, which is time horizon. So we're going to go through these stories in a bit, and then you can imagine how it feels when life throws curveballs to you, like I had mentioned in the video. So anyway, this story starts with, we got 10 million and decided to invest in stocks and buy a small plot in Kitengela. We put 5 million in stocks and we got a financial advisor. That was 5 years ago. Last year, things got thick and we had to sell some investments to make money. So hubby and I both lost our jobs and we needed cash to get through since we were running out of savings. We decided to sell the shares since it's easier to sell than land. From the 5 million, we got 2.2 million. I'm shaking thinking about it. One of the biggest losses was our KQ shares. Everyone told us to put money there, including the advisor. Stocks, X. So for me, guys, I don't want to say that I truly know how it feels being them. However, from this story, we can learn 3 things that I'd like to share with you guys. And the first thing is you have to do your research. Like, the issue I have with most people out here, they want you to just tell them what to invest in, then they put their money and forget. But I feel like if you have done your research, you could find, loopholes or information that maybe could advise you not to go that route. So
That for me is like point number one. Then point number two is time horizon. From my research, I can tell that many people are advising that you need to lock in your stocks portfolio for at least 10 years and above. And that is mad, guys. That's a very long time. And after looking at our graph, you can see why they say that, because they go up, down, up, down, up, down, but eventually the market recalibrates and then you are eventually in profits. I feel like 5 years was still too short. And also with the pandemic and the dynamics changing for their family, they had to access the money they had invested in stocks, despite it just being there for 5 years. The third thing I'd like you guys to learn from this story is definitely like what life can throw at you. So if you listen to this story, you can hear that, one, they both lost their jobs. Two, they didn't have a source of income. Three, they sound like they have a family, because she said hubby and I, so I'm assuming maybe they have children they have to feed and all that. Four, she also mentioned that they ran out of savings, meaning maybe the emergency fund was depleted. And then another thing is, when all their options had ended, they had to consider accessing their investment portfolio. So you really can't necessarily blame them and say, oh, but they didn't do this, or oh, they didn't do that. Sometimes, guys, life is just bad. Like, it throws curveballs to you, and you can see that they did try. I didn't mention in the beginning, but they sold land, got the money, and they were trying to diversify their portfolio. So half the money they bought another land, and then the other half they invested in stocks, which to me was a really good idea. But because of the situation of not having any money coming in, even though the stocks had stayed there for 5 years, it was still not enough for them to make profits, and hence why they sold and only made 2.2 million. Anyway, so guys, I hope this shows you that understanding your time horizon is really, really important. I hope this has helped you see something, and necessarily don't blame stocks to be the issue. I don't think stocks are the issue. It could be maybe the stock they bought needs more time for profits to be noticed. And then also with COVID, it's not like KQ was flying anywhere, so obviously the stock price would go low. So yeah, anyway, let's get back to the video. I hope you guys have learned something from this.
The third thing is income levels. This is something we've talked about in determining your investor profile under risk capacity, whereby we are talking about your ability to take the risk, and factors that affect that is something to do with income. So capital injection is a very, very huge factor. You might have stumbled on a good deal. However, a constraint you could have goes back to income. How much capital injection do you have for you to be able to actually invest in this thing that you truly want? The fourth thing goes back to your risk appetite. These are still factors that we've mentioned that still are constraints to your investing decision. Guys, appetite yako is different. And then finally is tax. Tax is something that you cannot run away. They are income generating assets that have to be taxed by the government. It could be a constraint. It might not essentially hinder you from investing, but it's something you should consider because it's a legal requirement as long as you have finances involved. So I'm gonna add a sixth step that you should consider in your investment journey, and that is you have to monitor your investments. Yo, let me tell you, even if you have a 10-year plan, even if you have a 5-year plan, review your investment. Most of us put so much time and energy in creating the income and making the money, but we don't take the time to educate ourselves with the right investment decisions. We don't take the time to even do research on companies that we want to invest in. We just don't want to do that part of the work. However, we still want to grow our income without making losses. It does not make sense. So as much as you want to make this money, take the time to research, take the time to understand this 6-step process, and be able to put your money safely wherever it is. as much as you are working hard for your money, you should also work hard enough to educate yourself on the investment decisions you want to make for this money that you have grown. That is it for today's video. I really do hope I have brought you in the world of investment. I hope I have given you insights as to how we should think, because I'm in this journey as well. You are in this journey as well. So I hope this two-part series has helped you understand exactly how you should go about it. Anyway, other than that, I want to ask you guys to definitely check out my playlist, How to Invest Money. Now I think I have 10 videos. There is this two-part series. There is how to invest in mutual funds, how to invest in bonds and bills, how to invest in SACCOs, factors to consider before joining a SACCO, how to invest in cryptocurrency. Yani, if you have enjoyed this video, if you have learned anything, guys, please smash the like button. It really helps in pushing this video. As well, you can educate us on the comment section, because we are all learning from each other. Please just comment, because when you leave a question there, anyone who watches this video also sees the question, also sees the replies, and then it's a whole snowball effect of learning from each other. I had asked a question in the beginning, and I want to give you the response that I read on this article. So they said, if you're a 35-year-old, agile and strong, making a decent income, and you're planning to start saving for your retirement, they usually advise someone to go the long-term route. And this is something that is aggressive. And they gave examples of stocks. Why? You can lock in something to do with stocks, or something that's long-term like land or property. And this is an investment that even 7 years over, 10 years over, it's going to be making you money as time progresses. So that was the response. I shared this on Instagram, like I said at the beginning of the video. There's a lady who gave us a really good insight, and she said, it is also not advisable for you to just invest on land, and I mean just bare land, and just look at it. It is a very difficult asset to, convert to cash. It's not easily liquid. So what she was advising us is convert that land into cash as fast as you can. So if you've bought land, what she said is you could either, one, lease the land to somebody and make an income from them using the land either to plant or to build a makeshift building there. You could also convert the land in a sense that dig a borehole, right? And start selling water from your borehole. So essentially you're creating income and you're creating cash from this asset that is not easily liquid. So that is something that I honestly was like 10 out of 10. I'm gonna share it with you guys online, so that if you have land, consider finding ways to make this land generate money for you. Anyway, and then the other question that I asked you guys, if you have retired, you're 65 years old and you are trying to save for retirement, what options would you go for? So they said it would be advisable for you to do a division of your assets. So essentially, as compared to the younger one, who they would just advise you to 100% go into stocks for your retirement plan and let it grow, for someone who is already retired, it would be probably 70% stocks, land or property, and 30% safety and stability, or investments like an FD or an MMF that essentially have cash to cater for his expenses. And I liked it because yes, he's 65 and probably his portfolio is also still growing, but now he has to reduce part of that portfolio to actually give him cash so that he can sustain his expenses and he can sustain his lifestyle. And that was the response I got from the article. And I don't know if you have a different response. Please give us your response down below. If it is life insurance, definitely share with us below. We are open to learn. And as much as some people might not accept your opinion, does not mean that they should not be open to listen to it. Anyway, guys, remember to start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. I love you guys, and bye. See you on the next one.